Today, I'll be explaining the concept of Engel curves. To understand this video, you must be aware about the income consumption curves of the normal and inferior goods. If you do not know the idea behind income consumption curve, I urge you to watch the video of income consumption curve first, as it is a kind of a prerequisite to this. So, as we have discussed, income consumption curve is a curve which traces the utility maximizing combinations of two goods as consumers' income changes. If we take an example, here the individual consumes two goods, food and clothing. As the consumer's income increases, the budget line shifts to the right, that is, from the budget line GH to another budget line IJ and to KL. The utility maximizing combinations of both food and clothing also moves from A to B to D, as there is a parallel shift in the budget line towards the right. This means that both clothing and food are normal goods and income consumption curve is upward sloping. Engel curve at the same time relates to the quantity of good consumed with respect to an individual's income. For instance, look into the quantity of food consumed at various levels of incomes here. When the consumer is at point A, his income is assumed to be $10 and the quantity consumed of food is 4 units. When his income increases to $20, he moves to point B and the quantity of food consumed is 10 units. If his income further rises to $30, he moves to point B and consumes 16 units of food. So, if we try to construct an Engel curve which relates to the quantity of food consumed to the income of the consumer, we will get an upward sloping curve. Here, in the x-axis, we have units of food consumed, and in the y-axis, we have the income of the consumer. The figure portrays that when the income of the consumer is at $10, the quantity consumed of food is 4 units. At $20 of income, the quantity consumed of food is 10 units. And when the income is at $30, the quantity consumed rises to 16 units. Here, food is a normal good as the quantity consumed of food rises as the income of the consumer rises. So, the Engel curve is upward sloping. Now, let's see another case of an income consumption curve where the consumer consumes two goods, steak and hamburger. Let's take into account the consumption of hamburger here. At the budget line 510, the consumer's income is assumed to be $10. The optimal consumption bundle is at point A, and we can see that the consumer consumes 5 units of hamburger. When the income increases to $20, the consumer's budget line shifts to the right, that is to 1020. The consumer then chooses indifference curve U2 at point B, where he consumes 10 units of hamburger. Suppose the consumer's income increases to $30 and he reaches budget line 1530. Then his optimal bundle of consumption changes to point C, where he consumes only 8 units of hamburger. Here, as we can see, as his income increased from $20 to $30, the amounts of hamburger consumed decreases. But this wasn't the case when the income increased from $10 to $20. Here, hamburger was a normal good between A and B, but becomes an inferior good between B and C. With this note, let's look at the Engel curve of the hamburger. Here, we can see that as the income increases from $10 to $20, the consumption of hamburgers increased from 5 units to 10 units. But when the income of the consumer rises from $20 to $30, the consumption falls to 8 units. So, that portion of the Engel curve that slopes downward is the income range within which hamburger is an inferior good. Engel curve is the term propounded by eminent German scholar Ernest Engel. In short, an Engel curve is a locus of points relating to the equilibrium quantity of a good at particular levels of money income. So, it indicates how much quantity of a commodity a consumer will consume at different levels of income in order to be in equilibrium. I hope this is clear. Thank you.